Somewhere in the mountains, four girls are happily playing with a goat as one of them mentions that a new teacher will be joining their school from Tokyo. The announcement makes everyone excited, and one of them quickly asks what she will do if the teacher ends up liking her because of her cuteness. Another friend, feeling annoyed, replies that she should wear a mask, while another simply hopes that they will be this excited in the classroom as well. Elsewhere, a young boy stands inside a building, gazing at the stunning view through the glass window. Everything from the sea to the sky to the greenery of the place reminds him of what he had left behind. Hasaku Tama feels a quiet joy seeing the place exactly as he left it. Now that he has returned to fulfill a promise, he is ready to work very hard as a teacher. Later, while walking through the corridor, Tamao is mentally checking everything he has, again reminding himself to work hard, when he suddenly bumps into someone. All of his documents scatter to the ground, but he quickly asks the student if she is okay. He feels a bit bad about causing trouble on his first day, but his thoughts shift when he notices that the student has straight A's in the national mock exam. He is surprised and says how she can easily get into university, wondering why a genius like her is at this school. The student does not seem pleased with the question, but when Talmont notices the name on the pages, it reminds him of something else. The girl quickly snatches the paper from his hand, telling him that even if he read her private information, he should not make her feel flustered about it. Tamao apologizes to the girl, Suzuri, but she only gets more annoyed when he uses her first name. He quickly introduces himself to her, reminding her that he is Big Bro Tamao. Suzuri simply stares at him in wonder as he smiles brightly at her. A flashback comes to her mind of when he was much younger, and she finally remembers him. When Tamao asks what exactly she recognized him from, Suzuri does not mention anything directly, and instead points out how everything about him looks different. Tamao replies that it is because almost 6 years have passed since they last met, and that she has also grown a lot. When Suzuri asks why he has come back, Tamao explains that he is here as a teacher and will be teaching them Japanese. Suzuri seems surprised to hear the news, and Tamao reminds her that he had made a promise. Just hearing the word promised makes her very excited, and she begins to smile brightly. Then she suddenly remembers that she has to go to the committee, and before leaving, she tells Tamao to meet her in the courtyard during lunchtime. Once she leaves, Tamao recalls how much she has grown. In their childhood, she would keep following him, always asking him to play with her. They spent a lot of time together running around the city until he eventually had to leave for Tokyo. At that time, Suzuri had kept crying, begging him not to forget about her in the city. He had promised her that he would always remember her, and she declared that she would wait for him to return. Now, recalling all those memories, Tamao smiles fondly, still happy that he has kept his promise. Afterward, he walks toward his class a bit earlier than the scheduled time and finds a girl cleaning the blackboard. When he suddenly speaks, the girl gets startled and almost falls off the table, but he catches her just in time. The girl quickly pushes herself away from him, worried that she might be too heavy, but Tamao is not concerned about that. As she thanks him for helping, Tamao notices that she has written her name, Koinada, on the board. This makes him realize that she is Megu Koinada, another one of his childhood friends. Megu also seems to recognize him by his thick eyebrows, but she instantly grows worried, wondering if he is here just to get a chance to look at high school girls. Hearing her mention that, Tamao explains that he is here because he has returned as the new teacher. He then says how happy he is to see her again. Megu playfully says that she is not that excited to see him, but when Tamao seems hurt by her words, she quickly clarifies that she is actually very happy to see him. She then adds that if he is going to be a teacher, he should be able to read people better than that. Tamao looks relieved to have Megu scolding him for looking so pitiful. Just then, someone from behind asks what he is doing and crashes into him, asking if she heard someone mention the word cute. Seeing him standing there, the younger girl says that he is just an old guy, which is not really adorable. Her words are enough to sting, and Tamao almost bursts into tears, which only seems to annoy Megu even more. She then scolds the girl, Mizora, for hugging everyone around her. Mizora happily replies that she only hugs cute things. But when Tamao recognizes her name, Mizora notices his reaction. She teases that her cuteness precedes her, but he quickly clarifies that Megu just mentioned her name. At that moment, Mizora realizes who he is and quickly says that he has grown up a lot. Just then, the bell rings, indicating the start of the period, and the girl finally leaves him to go sit at her desk. While giving a lecture in his first class, Tamao calculates that he has already met Suzuri, Megu, and Mizora, which means that the only person left to meet is Jaime. Right then, Jaime walks into the class, not looking even a bit sorry for being late. Tama tells her to sit at her desk, saying that it is better that she is here, even if she is late. Jaime also seems to recognize him, but does not say anything and simply apologizes for interrupting the class. Tama notices how she has always been this unbothered and is surprised when she casually opens her lunchbox, not paying him any attention. When he calls her out on it, Jaime simply says that she woke up late and did not have breakfast. She adds that if she does not eat properly, she will not grow up. Hearing her reasoning, Tama does not argue further and simply tells her to chew properly. His cool attitude seems to surprise everyone. Meanwhile, Tama is still thinking about how, when he used to live here, these 4 girls were always with him. Since they all grew up in the countryside, there were not many kids around, so only the 5 of them played together. When they were younger, the girls were quite naughty at times, and each had different qualities that always kept Tama busy. He was 6 years older than they but was always excited when they all called him Big Brother, and he cared for them as if they were his dear sisters. Since the 5 of them were always close, it became a routine for them to spend every day together, so when the time came for him to move to Tokyo, there were a lot of tears. Still, he was the one who cried the most, yet he assured everyone that this was not a forever goodbye. He promised that he would come back and would make sure all of them had a great youth. Because of that promise, he has now decided to return as a teacher. The girls are still in high school, and he wants their time to be so memorable that they can treasure it for life. Later during lunchtime, he goes to the courtyard to meet Suzuri as promised. Seeing her reading through a book, he is surprised at how dedicated she is toward her studies. Suzuri instantly scolds him for scaring her like that. Tamao quickly apologizes and sits beside her, asking why she called him there. Suzuri looks nervous as she says that she wants to talk to him about the promise. Tamao immediately tells her that he has come back to fulfill his promise. Hearing that, Suzuri gets flustered and says that she has been waiting for this her whole life since he made the promise. Tamao excitedly agrees with her, but he is completely shocked when Suzuri says that he promised to marry her. The words instantly remind him of a childhood incident when Suzuri kept crying because he was forcing her to do her homework. She even called him stupid multiple times for making her do it. Tamao pointed out that if she did not finish her homework, she would be punished and would have to stand in the hall again, but Suzuri did not seem bothered by that. He even offered to tutor her in the subject she was struggling to understand. After he explained a few questions, she was finally able to solve one of them and became very excited about it. Tamao pointed out that if she kept working hard, she would eventually be able to solve even the toughest questions, as long as she kept going. Hearing that, Suzuri asked him if she studied really hard and became the smartest girl in the school, would he marry her? At that time, Tamao simply agreed with her. Now, recalling that incident, he is reminded that he really did make that promise. He quickly apologizes to Suzuri, telling her that he never thought he was saying something so serious back then. Suzuri simply agrees with him, saying that he just said those words casually to a child, and no one would think that they were serious. She adds that she has studied really hard since then, always aiming for perfect scores and getting praised by everyone around her. But knowing that all this time she was just holding on to a false promise makes her feel so stupid. Without listening to any of his explanations, she runs away while repeatedly calling herself stupid and crying over how she was so invested in just a misunderstanding. Her frustration with Tamao makes her furious, and she takes her anger out on the notebook she is holding by throwing it toward the nearest fountain. Before the notebook can fall, Tamao comes running and dives down to catch it in his hand. Fortunately, he saves the notebook but ends up falling into the fountain, his clothes completely drenched. Still, he feels happy that he managed to save her notebook. While standing there in the water, Tamao says that he noticed something while sitting beside her earlier. The notebook she was holding is really worn out, which makes him wonder how long she has spent studying from it, making sure she has everything done. He is certain that it was not easy, but still, she kept working hard without ever giving up. He gently bows in front of her, once again apologizing for forgetting their promise, but adds that she has come really far, and he is genuinely happy to know that it happened because of him. Returning the notebook to her, he thanks her again, telling her that she is truly a hard worker. Hearing that, Suzuri bursts into tears again, yelling at him for being so cool once more. Once Suzuri calms down, she apologizes for making a fuss and then smacks the notebook on Tamao's head for doing something so reckless. He keeps apologizing to her, and she finally decides to forgive him just because he saved her notebook. She even agrees with his point, saying that everything she has learned was not in vain and that she actually likes this new development because now she is a good student. Remembering something, she asks what promise he was talking about. Tamao reminds her about his promise of giving them the best youth ever. She finally realizes that he became a teacher at this school so he could spend more time with them. It makes her feel guilty because she'd have completely forgotten about that promise. After confirming that he is still holding on to it, Tama adds that falling in love is also an important part of youth. Before she can say anything else, the other three friends arrive and are surprised to see Tamao completely drenched. Suzuri quickly calms herself, not wanting to show her vulnerable side to her friends. Megu mumbles something under her breath, but when no one understands her, she repeats that they wanted to talk to him about something. When all three of them start speaking at the same time, Tama asks them to speak one at a time. All three remind him that he had promised to marry them. He is shocked to hear the same words from all four of his childhood friends. In their childhood, Tama promised all of his friends that he would marry them. Now, in the present, he gives a deep bow to all the girls, sincerely apologizing to them, as he only now remembers everything. He admits that under different circumstances, he had completely misunderstood what he was promising them. Megu is the first to speak, asking if he actually promised to marry every one of them. She thinks that he was being a real jerk for even suggesting something like having 4 wives at the same time. Jaime is a bit annoyed at her choice of words, while Tama just keeps apologizing to them. He even suggests that, as punishment for being such a dumb person, they can kick him if they want. One of the girls remarks that it looks like he would actually enjoy that, but Tama sincerely continues that they should kick him so hard that he turns into a star who will always keep watch over them. Another girl says that he is just asking for too much, but Tama ignores it and grabs Megu's ankle, asking her to kick him as hard as she can. Mizora is the first to stop him as she taps his head, telling him that it is not a big deal and he should not be so disappointed. With a bright smile, she says that she is not angry at him. Hearing him almost in tears, Mizora encourages him to smile and then takes out her phone so she can snap a picture of him to save in her album of memories. Suzuri tries to stop her, but Mizora just ignores her, saying that she needs to take another picture because Tama was blinking in the first one. Soon, all of the girls join in as Megu snaps a selfie with everyone. The picture session is interrupted when one of them points out that Megu was saying she was not angry, but now she seems more interested than anyone else. Embarrassed, Megu quickly tells her to stay quiet and asks Mizora to send her the photo. As the girls are busy saving the picture on their phones, Tamo tries to grab their attention, saying that everything he has done was. But before he can even complete the sentence, the school bell rings. All 4 of them begin walking away, telling him that it is not a big deal and he does not have to explain anything. Once he's alone, Tamo begins to realize how careless he's been in toying with the girls' feelings, and that a simple apology won't be enough to make things right. Meanwhile, the 4 of them are on the rooftop as Suzuri asks if everyone was surprised by his actions. When all 3 of them agree with her, she explains how Tamo had promised to marry her if she worked really hard on her studies. Hearing that, her friends realize how they always found it strange that she became so intelligent so quickly. Mizora then explains how she was trying to become cuter so that she could marry Tamo. All of her friends agree that she is already cute. Jaime shares that Tamo had promised to marry her if she regularly attended school. Her friend quickly reassures her, saying that she is already a great student. Everyone's attention then turns toward Megu, as they all want to know when she was promised marriage. Instead of answering, Megu simply says that she has forgotten about it, but Mizora quickly guesses that she is only keeping it a secret. Suzuri seems impressed by Megu's determination, saying that if she wants to keep her promise hidden to maintain dignity, then she is actually the one who should be marrying Tamao. Suzuri looks really worried, as she nervously admits that she thinks all 3 of them would make a great wife for Tamao. Her friends are not happy with her attitude, asking why she is acting like that. Their discussion is being interrupted by Megu, who politely says that all 4 of them were fixated on a proposal, but in the end, only one person can marry Tamao. To win that place, she would have to compete against her own friends. Remembering how everyone has shared their stories, she suddenly announces that she will back out, because all 3 of them are a better match for Tamao than she is. Mizora joins her at the edge, looking out at the view, and asks Megu if she remembers the day they all came here as children. Back then, Megu had won a competition to play the role of Princess Luca. Everyone had been so impressed and kept praising how beautiful she looked. All 3 of her friends hyped her up, congratulating her on winning the role and calling her lucky to become the princess. But when it was time for Megu to be fitted for the prince's costume, she refused to play the role. Hearing this, the teacher turned toward the class and asked for a volunteer. At that time, Megu was relieved to have given up, thinking that now one of her friends would get the chance to become the princess. But none of her friends raised their hands. After class, the three of them met her in the courtyard and asked why she had refused the role. She replied that since everyone wanted it, she thought it would be better if someone else became the princess. Suzuri explained that they were just happy because Tamao had gotten the role, but Megu was still insistent that any one of them would have made a better princess. Their talk was interrupted when Tamao appeared, asking if something had happened at school. All four of them were gathered on the rooftop when Tamao discovered the change in the princess's role. After learning that another person had been chosen as the princess and seeing how disappointed the four of them looked, Tamao suddenly lifted all of them into his arms and ran off without explanation. The girls kept shouting, asking where he was taking them, but he didn't stop until he reached the very top of the building. Nearly collapsing, he finally set them down, and all four turned toward him in confusion. Instead of answering, he told them to turn around and look at the view. His actions puzzled them even more, and when they asked for an explanation, Tamao smiled and said he had brought them there because from that spot, the entire town was visible. Then, one by one, he placed crowns on their heads, declaring that they were his princesses. Back then, he couldn't make real dresses, but he thought that seeing the view from up there would feel like looking out from a castle. After crowning them, he began playing along, asking them to act like princesses. He praised how beautiful each one looked, how wonderful it was to see them shining, and how proud he was of them. The girls joined in, pretending to wave to imaginary townsfolk below. As they laughed and looked out at the view, Tamao suddenly asked if they weren't worried about sharing, knowing they didn't want to hurt each other's feelings. He told them he admired that kindness, but warned that life couldn't always work that way. If they ever found themselves in a similar situation, he wanted them to be honest with themselves, because some things, once lost, can never be regained. He encouraged them to never give up on something they truly wanted. No matter the outcome, he promised they would feel happier knowing they had given it their all. Smiling, he reminded them that they were still children, so it was okay to want more and dream big. At that moment, Megu spoke up and said there was something she wanted right away, something every princess needed. Tamao guessed it might be a castle or some kind of treasure, but before he could finish, all four girls ran up and hugged him tightly, declaring that a princess must have a prince. Now, standing once again on that same rooftop, Mizora remembered that beautiful day and reminded Megu of what she had said. She wonders if Megu still plans to give up. Suzuri shouts that if Megu chooses to move forward, she will gladly accept the challenge, because she has no intention of holding back. With a playful glint in her eye, Mizora tilts her head and asks how she plans to win. After thinking for a moment, Suzuri says she might try approaching Tamao while he is asleep, but Mizora teases her, saying she is being way too determined. But she gets scolded by Megu for bothering Suzuri. She adds that they don't need to know what she's planning. After all, that will be much more fun if her opponents are left guessing. The others are surprised by her words, and Megu finally admits that she has no intention of backing out either. All four of them feel the weight of their decision, yet deep inside, a shared happiness lingers. Suzuri reminds them that it is only natural to feel this way since Tamao has always been their prince. The four of them wish that the most deserving among them will win and seal the moment with a quiet promise to one another. With their pact made, they leave together and decide to buy something on their way back. Beneath their outward cheer, each of them silently wonders if Tamao is truly prepared for what awaits him. When they return to town, the sight before them freezes them in shock. Tamao is kneeling before a police officer, clinging tightly to him and pleading to be punished. The crowd that has gathered looks on in disbelief. Megu tries to pull him away, but his grip is too strong. He cries out his guilt openly, admitting he has played with innocent hearts and broken promises, as though he has committed a grave crime. The girls rush forward, rescuing him from further humiliation. They manage to convince the officer that his behavior is simply an act, a practice for a play he is helping them prepare. Though doubtful, the officer lets the matter go, warning them to be more careful. They pull Tamao away and take him to the bridge. There he kneels once again, this time with a strange dummy head at his side. His repeated apologies pour out endlessly, his guilt consuming him. He confesses that he cannot keep promises to them all. For 6 long years he has never once forgotten them, and seeing how much they have grown fills him with pride. Yet bound now by his position as their teacher, he insists he can never return their feelings. He steps behind the bridge railing, saying he will imprison himself as punishment for his mistakes. Since they cannot bring themselves to hurt him, he tells them to take out their anger on the crude dummies he has made. His extreme actions leave the girls in shock. Megu is the first to react. She tells him to lift his head and, when he does, slaps him hard across the cheek. To her, his despair is unacceptable. She wants him to face reality as the strong person they all admire, not someone drowning in guilt. One by one, she throws the dummies into the water, calling them meaningless compared to the role Tama plays in their lives. Suzuri then steps forward, urging him to let go of the past and see how much they have all grown since childhood. The 4 of them stand firmly together in front of him, united in their demand that he face them as they are now. Instead of replying, Tama strikes his own face with his fist, leaving them all startled. With pain in his voice, he admits that the reason they can still scold him so harshly is that he has not yet prepared himself enough to truly accept their feelings. Looking determined, Tama asks them to beat him up together, but the girls only notice that he has already lost a tooth. Still, he insists that he is ready to hear all of their complaints from the past 6 years. To make up for everything, he promises that he will ensure the next 2 years are the very best of their lives. He even admits that he never imagined there would come a day when Megu would slap him like that. Megu responds that it has been difficult to watch him act so pitiful. Hearing her speak in such a strong manner reminds Tama of how she has never been like this before. She herself notes the change as she helps him to stand. She recalls the moment in their childhood when she once asked him to marry her if she could ever find the courage to speak for herself. Her determination surprises him, but Megu declares that she has decided what she wants and will never give up, because that is what it means to be a princess. The 4 girls begin walking together, while Tama stands frozen in shock. He only moves when Mizora tells him to snap out of it and follow them. When he finally joins their side, Jaime brings up his earlier point, asking how a teacher and student could not be together. Tamo tries to stay firm, saying it is his responsibility as a teacher to prioritize their welfare, but before he can finish, Jaime counters that once they graduate, those restrictions won't matter anymore. Her friends agree, adding that they can use the next 2 years to deepen their bond, and once they graduate, Tamo can choose a bride among them. He tries to protest that it's not that simple, but Suzuri interrupts, saying the plan sounds perfectly fair. Tamo never expected he would one day have to consider such a possibility with his childhood friends. Going through her childhood memories and looking at old photographs, Mizora realized that her pictures were beginning to look outdated. She thought there must be a way to refresh her cuteness. She wandered around with her phone in hand, but when she couldn't find a good angle, she decided to climb a tree, imagining how aesthetic the pictures would turn out. While attempting a selfie, her hands slipped, and she fell. Instead of landing on the hard ground, however, she crashed onto Tamao's back. He immediately scolded her for being so reckless, but Mizora seized the moment to snap a selfie with him. He urged her to get off if she wasn't hurt. Once she stood up, she teased that she had a really great time. Annoyed, Tamao pressed her about why she had been climbing the tree in the first place. Mizora explained that she had been taking selfies. Seeing his confused reaction, she showed him several pictures and announced her plans to upload them on social media. She deliberately selected the ones with the heaviest filters, eager to hear his opinion on her cuteness. Tama studied the pictures carefully before remarking that she looked like a baby doll. Later, when she shared the story with her friends, Megu burst into laughter at the thought of her being compared to a doll. Mizora grew irritated at Megu's reaction and snapped back, reminding them that she had nearly 20,000 followers online and was already on her way to becoming an influencer. She boasted that her influence reached beyond her own generation, dismissing her friends' attempts to point out the negative side of it. Instead, she turned to Jaime and directly asked if she was cute. Jaime simply agreed, while Megu teased that Mizora wouldn't get any more food until she learned to stay young at heart. In the end, Megu admitted that Mizora really was cute and should be more confident in herself. Yet Mizora was left dissatisfied because Tama himself hadn't called her cute. Determined to change that, she resolved to go all in until he finally admitted that she was truly adorable. To step up her game, Mizora dressed more cutely than usual, pinning a decorative clip in her hair and carrying a box of cookies she had baked at home. To enhance the effect, she even wore an apron, convinced that this time Tama would be forced to call her cute. To her disappointment, Tamao simply ate the cookies and remarked that she didn't need to push herself so hard. Mizora tried not to let his reaction bother her, resolving to do even better next time. In the following days, she continued her efforts, appearing before Tamao in different outfits, sometimes a maid uniform, other times even a comical corn costume, believing that eventually he would acknowledge her cuteness. Yet Tamao remained unfazed, acting cool and unaffected, only pointing out trivial details, such as the red marks on her face during a quiz. Her friends secretly observed the spectacle, shocked by how far she was going in her challenge. Megu grew irritated at Tamao's density and was ready to give him a beating, but Jaime quickly restrained her. Instead of stopping Mizora, the group encouraged her, telling her she could try again after school. That afternoon, Mizora approached Tamao and suggested they walk home together. He agreed, asking if she had been waiting for him. She replied that she would do anything for her bro, but once again, Tamao only thanked her without calling her cute. When her constant efforts continued to fail, Mizora finally demanded that he say the word outright. Tamao refused. Frustrated, she argued that everyone else admitted she was cute and wondered why he thought otherwise. Calmly, Tamao explained that if he called her cute, it would be considered inappropriate, practically harassment, since he was her teacher and couldn't say such things to a student. Mizora insists she won't take it the wrong way, but Tamao stands firm, reminding her that he became a teacher to give them the best youth possible. If he singles out one student with special treatment, he would have to take responsibility for it. Before their conversation continues, the baseball team's coach approaches. He explains their team is in trouble during an interleague match because their pitcher is injured. After Mizora wishes the player a quick recovery, the coach asks if she can fill in, saying she has a strong arm. Mizora declines, saying she's not on the team, but the captain quickly assures her they're now accepting outsiders. His desperation makes them wonder how few players are left. Still, Mizora hesitates, worried about getting sunburned and ruining her hair. The coach gets annoyed and demands to know when she started acting so timid. His words stir old memories of her childhood, when she was always strong at sports and spent most of her time playing with boys. Even then, she secretly loved cute things like dresses and accessories, but no one noticed. Instead, people always suggested cooler options, saying those suited her best. She remembers a moment at school when the girls shared their dreams of baking cakes or selling flowers when they grew up. Mizora thought about wanting to be a princess, but her friends laughed and said she must be planning to play baseball professionally. Unable to argue, she just nodded. Even on her birthday, she got a baseball glove as a gift, but she never dared admit she truly wanted a cute hair clip. Over time, she accepted that such things weren't meant for her. One afternoon, while playing dress-up in her sister's room, she secretly tries on a dress, eager to see if it suits her. Before she can decide, the door opens and Tamao walks in. He chats casually, saying he saw her shoes at the entrance and figured she was home, so he decided to visit. Mizora freezes, nervous about being caught, and quickly mumbles that she must look strange. To her surprise, Tamao smiles warmly and says the dress suits her well, making her look different in a charming way. For a moment, she worries he's teasing, but then Tamao explains the timing is perfect because he came to give her a birthday present. From his pocket, he pulls out a hair clip, admitting he was worried about being late. He gently places the clip in her hair and tells her how good it looks on her. Mizora still doubts it, so when he asks what she thinks, she admits softly that she doesn't believe she's very cute. Tamao pats her head, assuring her she is truly adorable. Hearing that from him is the first time Mizora realizes she could be more than just cool. That day, she gathers the courage to ask if, when she grows up and becomes adorable for real, he would marry her. Back in the present, the coach suddenly snatches the hair clip from Mizora's head and replaces it with a baseball cap, saying it suits her better. Before Mizora can adjust the cap, Tamao quickly takes it back, declaring that only Mizora can decide what suits her best. He adds firmly that she is following her own interests now, and that makes it suit her even more because, in his eyes, she looks truly cute. Turning to her, Tamao encourages Mizora to keep acting as she wishes, to choose for herself and not for others. Mizora feels her heart race, while the coach stands frozen in surprise, realizing he somehow became the bad guy in the middle of everything. The coach, however, remains determined, insisting his team needs a strong batter. Watching his persistence, Mizora snaps sharply that he is not decent at all, which is exactly why he's so unpopular. Her blunt words nearly bring the coach to tears. She adds coldly that an old man acting like that is simply unbecoming. With that, she suddenly tosses her phone to Tamao and steps onto the field herself. To everyone's surprise, she joins the baseball team and delivers a perfect strike on her very first throw. After the game, Mizora and Tamao walk back together. Tamao praises her performance, admitting he was shocked when she threw her phone at him, but decided to use the chance to take a few pictures. Mizora's eyes light up with excitement, eager to see if he captured her well. But when Tamao confesses he's not used to taking photos, she quickly scrolls through her phone and finds the pictures he took with no filters. The plain shots annoy her because they're impossible to upload to social media, but she holds back her frustration. Instead, she tells herself that once they're married, he will surely learn to take plenty of perfect pictures of her. Tamao immediately reminds her he already refused that idea, but Mizora quickly counters that he was the one who said he'd take responsibility if he ever called her cute. Shocked, he tries to deny it, but Mizora ignores him and darts away, laughing. Later, when she's alone scrolling through the photos, she finds one undeniably adorable shot. She saves it quietly, deciding to keep it a secret. Meanwhile, the three other girls who had been spying on them got lost and distracted. At night, Tamao lies in bed, reflecting on everything that has happened since he became a teacher. He came here with a single goal, to give his childhood friends the best youth possible. Now, after all the confusion and emotions swirling around them, he decides it's time to be direct about it. For a moment, he wonders what truly defines a good youth. Carefully considering what young girls might enjoy, he concludes that inviting them for sweets after school would be a simple but meaningful way to share happiness. The next day, however, his plan doesn't go as he hopes. Suzuri, Megu, and Mizora all refuse his invitation, explaining they each have club activities to attend. Tamao is visibly disappointed, but instead of giving up, he turns his attention to Jaime, the only one who isn't busy. When he finds her in the courtyard, Jaime is crouched near the bushes, searching intently for something. Curious, Tamao joins her, peering under the leaves while asking what she's looking for. Jaime replies that she sensed a presence there, and it's fun to search for something hidden. Then, standing up, she turns the question on him, asking why he came. Tamao admits he wants to invite her out for sweets, explaining it would just be the two of them for a while since the others are busy. He adds that she can eat as much candy as she wants. The thought brightens Jaime with excitement, though inwardly she hesitates, unsure whether going alone with him might seem too much like a romantic outing. Before they can speak further, a cat suddenly leaps from the bushes, snatches the hair clip from Jaime's head, and darts away. Tamao immediately declares he will handle it and charges after the cat, only to crash straight into a trash can. Not wanting his effort to go to waste, Jaime dashes after the cat as well. But he quickly pulls himself from the trash, insisting that as a teacher it's his duty to help his students, and continues the chase. Despite his determination, the cat remains free. Exhausted from the pursuit, Tamao slows down, only to see that Jaime, who has run alongside him, looks even more drained. Without hesitation, he lifts her onto his back, saying that this way they can keep up the chase. Carrying her, he remarks with a hint of surprise that she feels heavier now, a sign of how much she has grown. Before they can continue, the other three girls suddenly appear, surprised at the sight before them. Tamao quickly asks if they've finished their club work, and Megu explains that because of the rain, their activities were cancelled. Just then, their attention shifts as they spot the cat again, still clutching Jaime's hair clip in its mouth. Megu is the first to spring forward, confidently claiming she can handle it. Yet the cat easily dodges her. Suzuri, standing further ahead, opens her arms to block its path as everyone encourages her, but she also fails to stop the animal. Finally, Mizora steps forward, declaring her cuteness will surely make the cat stop. However, the creature rushes past all of them without hesitation and darts straight into the storage room. Jaime suddenly leaps forward as she thanks Tamao for his help and hurries into the storage room, insisting she will handle things from there. Tamao, unwilling to let her deal with it alone, quickly follows and is relieved to see she has somehow managed to trap the cat. In his rush to approach, he stumbles over his own foot and falls forward, accidentally pulling Jaime down with him. He immediately pulls away, apologizing for startling her like that. Before either can recover, the other three arrive, asking if the cat has been caught. In their clumsy eagerness, they collide with Tamao and Jaime, sending all four tumbling onto a mattress. Chaos breaks out as they shout accusations at one another, each flustered and blaming the others for improper contact. Their bickering is cut short when voices of nearby girls echo from outside. Panic sweeps over Tamao at the thought of being discovered in such a compromising situation and mistaken for a harasser. The group instinctively covers their mouths, holding their breath as the girls pass through the storage area, chatting among themselves, completely unaware of what is happening. Only after the voices fade do the five finally sigh in relief. Tamao wriggles free from their grips, but their relief is short-lived. As they move toward the exit, they realize with shock that the storage room door has been locked from the outside. Megu is the first to panic. Her breathing quickening as being locked in the storage room overwhelms her. Sujiri gently guides her to take deep breaths, speaking calmly to steady her. Tamao urgently asks if anyone has their phone, but they all shake their heads, having left it for club activities. He tries calling for help through the window, but heavy rain drowns out his voice. No one will hear them. The group grows heavy with worry, and Jaime's eyes fill with tears. She blames herself for the mess, but he crouches to meet her eyes, assuring her no one is angry and encouraging her to hold her head high. He promises they'll get through this. His words remind her of childhood moments when his support gave her strength. He asks her to smile, and she manages a small, fragile grin. Mizora grumbles she wishes she had her camera to capture it, while Sujiri admits Tamao's words don't feel awkward coming from him. Tamao urges calm and promises a solution. To lighten the mood, he explains how cats can squeeze through tight spots because of their flexible bodies, and jokes humans, being mostly water, could too. He tries to prove it by forcing his head through the window, but gets stuck. His shoulders won't follow, and his face presses awkwardly outside. He tells the girls not to lose hope. The girls are less amused. Mizora scoffs and tells them to pull him back inside. Even together, they can't free him. Tamao seems more resigned than trying to escape, frustrating the girls. Two classmates arrive, curious about the voices. They open the door and freeze, seeing Tamao stuck halfway out the window, and the others in disarray. Tamao, unfazed, notices a rainbow, whose beauty distracts him from his embarrassing position. After much effort, the group finally manages to pull themselves out of the storage room. Mizora sighs in relief, remarking on how difficult it was but that at least they escaped. Tamao tries to assure them with his usual optimism, though the others are far from convinced he's the one qualified to offer encouragement. Mizora, meanwhile, is simply glad that Jaime's missing hairpin has been retrieved. Jaime can't shake her guilt, feeling she caused trouble and failed her mission to find something fun. Sensing this, Tamao steps forward, saying the day has been fun and praising her curiosity for making life exciting. His words fluster Jaime, and she softly admits she enjoyed herself too. Before the moment lasts, Mizora playfully jumps on Jaime's back, saying she wants to spend time with her because she enjoys her company. As the others try to join in, Jaime loses her balance, sending all four girls tumbling into a heap on the ground. After some bickering, they decide to head to the washroom, dragging Tamao along with them. Confused, he wonders why he's being brought there until Megu explains that his role is to keep watch in case a ghost appears. The thought of protecting them fills him with purpose, and he agrees without hesitation, though he is caught off guard when they blindfold him. Determined to fulfill his duty, he stays still despite his growing fatigue. His eyes begin to close, and when he wakes, he feels something unexpected. Shocked, he pulls off the blindfold and is shocked at the sight. They firmly send him out. Standing outside, Tamao feels shaken, unsure if what he experienced was real or a dream. The mystery of who was behind it fills him with curiosity. After the shower incident, one of the girls cannot shake the memory from her thoughts. Even though Tamao insists the promise was a joke, his return to her side feels like destiny to her. In her heart, she wishes for something more. She no longer sees him as just a teacher or an older brother figure. She hopes to draw closer to him as a woman. Meanwhile, Tamao gathers the four girls and scolds them sternly for their reckless behavior. He emphasizes that kissing him is unacceptable and highly improper. As he speaks, his composure falters. The memory of the brief moment makes him flustered. His words confuse the group. No one understands what he truly means to convey. Mizora suddenly bursts into tears. She is convinced that Tamao's guilt over seeing them exposed drives him to thoughts of ending his life. Alarm spreads among the others. Tamao tries to clarify, but the girls brush his explanations aside. They scold him for exaggerating such a small matter. They refuse to listen, no matter how many times he insists he saw nothing. Frustrated, Tamao carries himself with the dignity of a teacher. His effort leaves an unexpected impression. Sujiri, observing his seriousness, feels admiration stir within her. His strict resolve strengthens her commitment to uphold the school's rules. As student council president, she knows she must lead by example. Later, Suzuri moves through the corridors. Her presence draws gratitude and requests from every corner. Some students thank her for securing funds for their clubs. A group of girls voices concerns about broken lockers in the changing rooms. She reassures them all and promises to address their problems. More students gather around, seeking her help. Tirelessly, she moves from one task to another. A calm smile never leaves her face. From a classroom window, Tamao watches in surprise at how tirelessly she works. He wonders aloud about it. Someone tells him that Suzuri is not only their classmate, but also the student council president. The revelation shocks him. The role is almost always held by a third year, yet Suzuri, a second year, has secured it. Megu explains with quiet pride that Suzuri is admired for her intelligence and beauty. She is a figure who unites the school under her leadership. Hearing her name spoken with such reverence, all three friends smile with unmistakable pride. Tamao looks on, conflicted. He admires her strength and responsibility, but part of him feels uneasy. He is even irritated when other students describe her as someone who never shows exhaustion, as though she is beyond human limits. Meanwhile, Suzuri spends time with a few friends when the conversation shifts unexpectedly. One girl, Sakurai, admits she has a crush on someone. Suzuri stiffens in surprise. Her friends notice her nervousness immediately. Sakurai explains that she feels something special with her crush but lacks the courage to confess. Curious, the others ask how Suzuri would act in such a situation. Sakurai adds that her crush is her childhood friend. She always felt something like this was bound to happen. Flustered, Suzuri hurriedly advises that the best way is to create the right atmosphere. She suggests finding a moment to be alone together. Sakurai replies that such moments happen often since their houses are close. Just the other day, she was alone with him in her room, talking as usual. The words make Suzuri's thoughts drift. Without realizing it, she pictures herself in Sakurai's place, sitting alone with Tamao. The image fills her mind with warmth and nervous energy. Another friend playfully suggests that Sakurai should just seduce the boy. Lost in her imagination, Suzuri blurts out that she could never do such a thing because her person is an adult. Her words make the others blink in confusion. Before they can press further, she shifts the topic back to Sakurai's situation. She offers encouragement and then almost flees from the scene. Later, Suzuri sits alone in the classroom with a notebook open before her. She tries to focus on her work, but her mind refuses to stay still. Thoughts of being alone with Tamao take over. Before she realizes it, she writes a short story in her notebook. She sketches out how he might act in such a situation. She knows Tamao would never behave that way, yet her hand continues to move. Her imagination refuses to stop. Just then, someone's footsteps startle her. Panicked, she slams her body over the notebook and clutches it protectively. When she looks up, Tamao is standing there. He asks when she arrived. Relieved, she realizes he hasn't seen anything. The fear still lingers. He reassures her that he hasn't peeked. He gently asks why she is slumped at her desk like that. Suzuri hastily replies that it is a girl thing. Not wanting to push her, Tamao nods with understanding. He places a hand softly on her head. His voice is calm and encouraging as he tells her he is proud of her for working so hard as student council president. His gentle advice to not overwork herself lingers in Suzuri's mind. Instead of taking it as a warning, she clings to the warmth of his praise. That moment gives her new determination. From the next day onward, she throws herself even deeper into her role. She holds open meetings and calls for students to approach her with any concerns. The response is overwhelming. A small crowd gathers around her desk. Students ask about everything, from club matters to trivial things like whether their new haircut suits them or the gender of their chicks. Suzuri listens carefully to each request. Her notebook fills quickly with notes and schedules. Her friends, standing nearby, grow concerned. They urge her to take a break and not push herself so hard. Suzuri insists they call for more people so she can help everyone. In her heart, her goal is clear. If she works harder than anyone else and carries every burden, Tamao will notice and praise her again. Meanwhile, Tamao finds Megu and Hayame in the courtyard. Mizora sprawls across Megu's lap, half asleep, while the other two chat idly. Curious, Tamao asks why Suzuri isn't with them. Mizora, still drowsy, mutters in annoyance that the president no longer has time for commoners like them. Megu dismisses the comment. She explains that Sujiri has been too busy lately. Tamao agrees, noting that her workload as student council president must be heavy. When he hears that Sujiri involves herself in countless tasks outside her duties, his expression grows serious. The girls admit they worry for her health. Sujiri never seems willing to slow down. Later that evening, Sujiri is in the locker room. She reviews the thick stack of notes in her diary where she recorded each student's requests. Lost in thought, she turns abruptly and bumps into Megu, who just walked in. Startled, Sujiri tries to retreat. Her other friends appear, blocking her path. For a moment she looks trapped. Their concerned eyes fix on her. Flustered, she bows her head in apology. She insists she has no time to talk. She urges them to take care of themselves and slips away with hurried steps. She promises vaguely to meet them later. That night, at home, Sujiri stands by the window, hanging her sheets to dry. Guilt weighs heavily on her chest. She knows she has made her friends worry. She tells herself that if she creates a proper timetable, she can balance everything and still spend time with them. As she folds the last sheet, she freezes. The notebook she always carries, the one with student requests and her private, dangerous thoughts, is gone. Panic surges through her. She searches every corner of her room, but it is nowhere to be found. The realization hits hard. If someone else picks it up, they might read what she wrote inside. Sujiri runs to the school, panting as she reaches the locked gates. Disappointed, she realizes there's no way inside but stays, unwilling to leave empty-handed. She eyes the tall gate, tempted to climb but hesitates. Breaking rules isn't something she can do. Just then, Tamao appears with a torch, surprised to see her. Noticing her exhaustion, he asks if she forgot something. Sujiri nods, frustrated, saying it's important, but the doors are locked. Without hesitation, he unlocks the door. Sujiri's eyes widen, worried he's breaking rules, but he shrugs it off, saying it's better than leaving her in despair. He leads her inside, explaining he's on lockup duty, so she's lucky. Sujiri feels relieved when she finds her notebook where she left it. As she grips it, the quiet school halls and being alone with him at night remind her of Daydreamstat. But instead of feeling happy, she's irritated. She rushed here in worn-out pajamas and feels embarrassed. For a moment, she thinks about buying new pajamas with Mizora next time. Tamao steps closer, asking if she found what she was looking for. Leaning in, he notes it must be precious, given how hard she searched. Nervously, Sujiri explains the notebook holds her important student council notes, and she can't afford to lose it. Tamao smiles, though his tone carries concern. He praises Sujiri's dedication but gently reminds her to take better care of herself, since her friends are deeply worried. Sujiri responds warmly, admitting that while her responsibilities can be tough, helping others makes her truly happy. She adds that she hopes to accomplish everything she's written in the notebook. He feels unexpectedly unsettled by her words, but she quickly hides it and says she should leave. Before she can move, his hand presses against the locker beside her, startling her. Firmly, he tells her she needs to come with him. Shortly after, Sujiri sits in the staff room as Tamao walks slowly. He explains that walking home together now might raise suspicion, so they have to wait. Though he brushes off what happened in the hallway as his hand slipping, Sujiri can't shake the moment's weight. She bows her head, apologizing quietly, feeling guilty for making him break a rule, especially as a teacher. Tamao calmly shakes his head, telling her it's no big deal. He says he acted on his own will and that school rules are meant to protect, not scare students. He reminds her that her friends often bend or break rules, too, so she shouldn't carry guilt over this. His tone softens as he adds that while her hard work is admirable, pushing herself too much will eventually wear her down. Even before becoming president, she managed fine, so she doesn't need to carry more than she can handle. He reaches into a small bag and offers her some popcorn with a warm smile, encouraging her to relax. The simple gesture touches her deeply, making her realize how cool and thoughtful he is. A faint smile appears on her lips. She teases him gently about how loudly he drinks his cocoa and admits she feels a bit more at ease now. Her expression softens as she confesses that school has always been a place where she pushed herself hard, so sitting there feeling vulnerable is unusual for her. During their talk, Sujiri asks Tamao to sit beside her. When he hesitates, her heart sinks, worried she's made a mistake, but he quickly reassures her it's not her fault. His hesitation is his own. Since his return, many strange moments between them have made it hard for him to stay composed. Seeing how odd his rejection must seem, he finally sits beside her, trying to act normal. Sujiri's heart pounds loudly, fearing he might hear it. For a moment, she feels this closeness is the perfect moment she once imagined, like an innocent girl sitting next to someone she secretly admires, and it almost overwhelms her. Suddenly, she blurts out how she has been having a wonderful monologue in her head. Tama looks at her in confusion, unable to grasp what she means, while she adds in frustration that he will never be able to hear it again. His clueless expression only annoys her further, and in a burst of nervousness, she leans closer to him, hoping it might make the moment clearer. Even though it feels strange, she keeps at it, yet Tama still seems unaware of what she is trying to convey. Embarrassed, she pulls back, realizing just how strangely she is acting. As she is about to retreat, he suddenly holds out her notebook. In the process of returning it, his eyes catch a glimpse of the story written inside. His face flushes as he quickly looks away, but all he manages to say is that her composition is perfect.